Now they don't sit on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they the talk of the town. High cast sales of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory. There we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Irish, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
Yo, what's up? It is your boys from the Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. My name's Harish. This is my guy, Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, what's up, bro?
What's happening? Well, I guess I should be asking you, how are you feeling? Let me start off by asking you, because you landed the number one pick in the NBA draft.
Listen, I don't know. I don't care if it's rigged or not. I'm just glad something finally got rigged for the Mavericks. It's not rigged, right?
This might be the most abysmal season as a Mavericks fan ever.
We went torture. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been this. Forget the Luka injury, or forget the Luka trade, right?
Right.
The injuries that this team had to endure also. Mm-hmm. It started with Luka on Christmas, and then boom, Derek Lively goes down. Daniel Gafford goes down. Kai tears his ACL. That's 4 out of the 5 starters. Right. PJ's been out of the lineup all year, and then the bench kind of we had to go get former Longhorn legend Kai Jones to fill in for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it got, right? So forget the Luka trade.
Yep.
The Luka trade, Anthony Davis is out, right? Basically a half after. Let's just say the Luka trade happened, right? Well, my theory is, if Luka never gets hurt in Christmas, none of this happens.
Do you think you still get the number one pick if Luka gets hurt? If Luka doesn't
No. If Luka doesn't get hurt, we're in the finals. Let's just say, because assuming like everything goes well, right? Like Luka doesn't get. You're thinking like. You're saying if, right? If Luka doesn't get hurt, then you're assuming that though the rest of those injuries don't hurt. People forget when the starting 5 of Luka, Kyrie, Clay, PJ, and Derek Lively played together, they were 18-4.
Okay.
That's the best record in the league.
Right.
A fully healthy Mavericks team would beat this Thunder team. And I have no doubts about that. I have no doubts about that. Over a 7-game series, they'd beat this Thunder.
Okay.
This Mavericks team, the way it was constructed before, obviously, Grimes gets traded away. Like all those pieces together could have won the title.
Right.
So I 100% still believe that. Now, all that happens, right? I don't care what you guys think about Nico. We don't like him either. We deserve this number.
Okay.
Forget the front office. I, as a Mavs fan, going through the absolute hell I went through this year, deserve Cooper Flag.
Right.
And all we need now is some sort of playmaking point guard until Kyrie gets back.
Right.
This team can compete this year.
Yeah. Do you think before we get started here, do you think what do you want to happen with that number 1 pick?
Nothing.
Do you want them to get Cooper Flag?
100%. Get Cooper Flag. You basically have a renewal of life.
What if they trade for Giannis?
I don't want Giannis.
Why not?
Because Giannis doesn't help this team right now. Giannis is not – just because you get Giannis, if you have no playmaker, it doesn't matter who's getting him the ball.
I mean – what is Cooper Flag? Cooper Flag, is he a point guard?
He's a 3. He's a wing 3-4 guy. So you can play him at the 3 or you can play him at the 4.
So
He fits the mold of what Nico's looking for. Defensive two-way player.
so you don't think Giannis could do that?
Not I don't want him to do that at 31 for $40 million a year.
All right. Okay.
Is he a win now move? Maybe. But the problem with win now moves in the NBA, there's no guarantee that these win now moves like win in the NBA. It's not the same as like football, right? Because in football you can put them in different positions and you can add depth. But what you would be giving up beyond just the number 1 pick, it's not like it's a straight swap. You're just giving up number 1 for Giannis. You're going to give up a lot of other pieces as well. You're going to have to give up Najee. You're going to have to give up PJ. You're going to have to give up you're going to have to give up pieces.
Your mic cut out.
You're going to have to give up some different pieces. Not just giving up number 1. This isn't like number 1 pick.
Gotcha. I got you.
I don't think this team I don't think this team is I don't know if just Giannis wins the title.
Gotcha.
But I'm happy to get Cooper 5 because now our future is reset.
Okay. Well, listen, it's a great for Mavs fans. I'm happy for y'all. I'm happy for y'all, man, because y'all been through a lot.
I appreciate it. All right, so let's dive into it. Of course, fanbattlesports.com, fanbattlesports.com. You get the latest and greatest on the AFC South. Schedules just came out. How are you feeling about the Cowboys?
I definitely believe that this is a schedule that is winnable. I think with the team and the pieces that they've been adding, which has been shockingly good, I'm okay with what's going on. Now, if they were to add one more piece, and I'm hoping that they do, if they can get like another cornerback, because again, our secondary has been beat up, especially with Trayvon Diggs having an issue, Bland having an issue. That would be a real, I would like to get a veteran cornerback in there. Now, I do know that there are some corners out there that are still available. And I think if you were to add one of those pieces, even if it was just for, I don't want to say league minimum, but if they could find a friendly deal, they've got the cap space to do it. And they haven't been the pieces that they've added through the draft and through the trade for George Pickens. It's really not a point, or they're really not in a position where they're strapped for cash.
Right.
They basically have a situation where they could, the trade for George Pickens, if it doesn't work out and they let George Pickens walk, they get a compensatory third. You're not losing.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so you're not losing in that end, and then the Steelers, they get an opportunity to add with that trade, or however they want to go about it. They have an opportunity to add on to their team through picks or whatever the case. So I feel real bad for DK Metcalf, because I thought I'm pretty sure he probably thought he was running into a situation where he'd have like Aaron Rodgers. And you got George Pickens on the other side. They're both two big wide receivers. They're both fast. You run into a situation like, man, this looks good, and then they get rid of George Pickens. If I'm DK Metcalf, I'm kind of looking around like, what are y'all gonna do? So, but outside of that, man, it's been good. I've been watching a lot of NBA ball. You know who had a really, really, really good game a couple days ago? Our boy, former Longhorn. Miles Turner. Miles Turner was going crazy. Miles Turner was hitting threes. And it's like, dog, wasn't he almost a Maverick?
A couple times, yeah.
A couple times, right? The Mavericks definitely tried to get him, and for whatever reason, he stayed in Indiana. And boy, he looked magical. Matter of fact, within this last series, he's looked really good.
It's a really good team too. Like the way that team is built. Last year, they didn't have problems. Like this is one of the most efficient teams in the league. Even last year in the playoffs, they were really. And I still to this day believe that if Halliburton doesn't get hurt, I think Nembhard gets hurt in that Boston series. I think they beat Boston.
Yeah.
First year. And I think if they play New York, which is where it looks like it's going, I think they're going to beat New York.
I think they have too much firepower right now. I think they look too well-rounded to and I'm a closet New York Knicks fan, so they looking at New York and what New York has done, New York looks great, but that Indiana team looks like they're on a prime. I would say right now they are the favorite to go to the NBA Finals right now.
Oh yeah, from the East for sure. Now, how they match up against like the OKC Thunder, I don't really know. I think like they would match up better with like Denver,
right?
Because they can run,
right?
And they might even match up better with like Minnesota. So, like I think they'd be like the second best team left.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to make it all the way.
Yeah. So shout out to Longhorn legend Miles Turner. He's looked fantastic. He's looked great. But we can move on.
Yes, sir. All right, Fan Battle Sports. Go to all the stuff there. All right, Tim. Let's dig right into it. The Austin softball regional begins tomorrow. Game 1 noon. I believe this is noon Eastern. UCF, Michigan. So the Austin regional will consist of UCF, Michigan, Texas, Eastern Illinois.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on Texas? Both teams on the diamond have been struggling recently, right?
Yes.
But how do you see this playing out for Texas?
I think this is a regional. I think this is a winnable regional for them. Again, you got UCF, who's done very good. They're 22-1. You got Michigan that's 38-19. And then you also have Eastern Illinois that are 34-20. Now, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like I know exactly what each of those teams have to offer, because I don't watch enough baseball to critique each of those teams. But what I do know is that Texas does have the offense. Now they've been struggling. they've been struggling, but even right now being down to OU, they've been struggling to get runs in. But I definitely think that this is doable. I feel that with this team and how we've seen how they've been navigating throughout the year, they've dropped a few within the last week or two. Some very crucial games, some mistakes being made there, but I think this is definitely a doable situation where they can win out. I don't know if they're going to be able to win every single game. Again, you're coming off a dogfight with Oklahoma, and that is nothing to overlook. That is a prime position to where an Eastern Illinois could come in and hand Texas a loss tomorrow. So that's nothing. That's nothing to overlook. I'm definitely pretty sure that Schloss is letting these guys know, like, hey, listen, after this Oklahoma match, rivalry game, you definitely got to, win, lose or draw, you got to stay focused because you got a regional with less than 24 hours. So. So it's all about the coaching. This is where coaching comes in. This is where that staff that Schloss has put together comes into play. Get these guys prepared and ready to go.
You mean Mike White, since we were talking softball?
Huh?
You mean what? Mike White, not Schloss.
Mike White. I'm sorry.
All good. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So Texas has struggled. Texas doesn't have a lot of pitching depth. Right?
No, but that's always been Texas' problem, right?
after King Kavan, like I don't have a lot of pitching depth. And so they'll expect Cavani to obviously pitch a lot.
Right.
I don't know much about these other teams in this regional,
Right.
but I think Texas, with the rest that they've gotten over the last week, I think they'll be refreshed. They will if they win, right? If they win the regional, they'll play the winner of the Clemson regional and the Super regional,
Right.
right? Which could get tricky. Like that's a 6-11 matchup. Things could get a little dicey there.
Yep.
So not the easiest of roads. Just to kind of give you an outlook of how this will look. Texas play 2:30. I believe this is Central. The schedule that I'm looking at. It doesn't mention Eastern. They'll play that 2:30 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they win that game, they will play on Friday at noon.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they win that game, they'll basically play Sunday if they win.
Right.
Not Friday, they'll play Saturday at noon. And if they win that game, they'll play. They'll either have an opportunity to. They won't have to play again on Saturday, and then they'll only need one to win on Sunday.
Right. So yeah, the way it plays out, you got on Saturday, you got winner of game 1 and winner of game 2. And then loser of game 1, loser of game 2. That's at 2:30.
Yep.
Then game 5 is winner of game 4, loser of game 3 at 5 p.m. Central. And then Sunday, capping that off, game 5 winner and game 3 winner. And if necessary, winner of game 6, loser of game 6 at 2:30 Central Standard Time. So there's a lot of situations where Texas could be in any one of these positions depending on how they look tonight, how they perform tomorrow. A lot of this could put them in either a prime position or a really bad position. That's just kind of how it is right now. There's really no give. There's no give in this type of situation, especially being in a regional. So we see what happens.
The best situation Texas can be in is win those first 2 games.
Right.
And you're at home, right? Like you have a home field advantage.
Right. And it's going to be hot.
Yeah,
it is going to be
really hot. That's the other thing that I think will factor in. Like Florida's used to humid, they're not used to hot. Michigan, I think it's still like 40 degrees up there.
Yeah.
Illinois, I think it's like 50 degrees. It's supposed to hit 100 over 100.
Yeah.
So I think with that, even though the bats and the pitching are struggling, I just think the Heat is the biggest.
The Heat does play a factor because you're sitting outside. There's no shade out there. We've been to the baseball stadium. It's very little shade. Let's put it like that. The shade is more for the crowd, right? But out there on that field, it's going to be beaming. These game times are in peak heat times. Now, for a lot of you that don't live in the state of Texas or not familiar with the state of Texas, even at 5 p.m., it's still very much hot.
Yep.
Very much hot. Usually we're at 90 degrees or plus around 12 p.m. 2:30, you might as well forget. You getting cooked. 2:30 p.m. on a Saturday in May? Oh, man.
It's basically 90 degrees right now, and it's 9 p.m.
And the sun is down. The sun had set 30 minutes ago, and it's still 90 degrees. So the heat is no joke up here, and it could definitely play a factor. And that could be a pivotal – you might have people cramping, people sweating uncontrollably. It's definitely a thing. So home field advantage is definitely a good thing in this case as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And they'll also have the home field advantage in the Super Regional as well, which is nice.
Yep, for sure.
The winner of that Clemson Regional will have to come here.
Right.
All right, Jamie, let's quickly talk about the regular season finale. Currently, as we speak, Texas has made a comeback, 3-3.
Thank God.
All right. If Texas sweeps this series, they'll win the SEC outright in year 1.
Thank God.
This is a tough SEC.
Yeah.
Right. If they go 2-1, then things get a little bit dicey. You have to kind of see what happens with Arkansas. That's going to be important.
Yeah.
But I believe all series this week end on Saturday. So everybody's playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week, if I'm not mistaken, because the SEC tournament starts on Monday, I believe.
Right.
Monday or Tuesday. So
That's for lower seeds too, as well.
yeah, the lower seeds will begin Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday is when the lower seeds play. So
Yeah.
as of today, if the tournament ended, Texas would be, or if the tournament started today, Texas would be the 1 seed, and they
Right.
would play Thursday at 3:00.
Now, do you think if Oklahoma were to pull out the W and they were able to win 2 or 3 games, do you still think that Texas gets a number 1 seed?
Like, oh, I think Texas is a lot to be like a host in the regional.
Okay.
Now they could still, if Texas, it's going to all depend on what happens with Arkansas, because right now Texas has a 2-game lead over Arkansas.
Right.
What they can't do is tie. Like,
Right.
if they have the same record, Arkansas owns the tiebreaker, right?
Right.
Because they swept Texas.
Right.
That's why winning one last week was important. Winning one against Arkansas would have been huge.
It was
Didn't
big.
happen. It's all right. There's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
So, yeah, getting a sweep this week would be detrimental
Mhm.
to the SEC standings. Currently, as it sits, Texas is the 1 seed. Arkansas is the 2. And so it's just going to, oh, yeah, all these games are central. Perfect. So,
Right.
if Texas were to hold on to the 1 seed, they'll play 3:00 on Thursday.
Right.
If they get the 2 seed, they'll play at 3:00 on Friday.
Okay.
And that's essentially how that will work. And just kind of go from there. And that basically starts Thursday. Texas will either start Thursday or Friday, depending on
Right.
So, Max Blue came back today.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's huge, right? Like,
Yeah.
you need bats, and that's where Texas has struggled. Pitching, I think pitching has been a challenge, but I think Texas has pitched well. Forget Arkansas. Like last week, I think they pitched well enough to win a couple
Yeah.
of games. The hitting has not been very good.
And that's
For the last month,
and-
really, it has not been good.
right. And that's what's kind of troubling, is because if you think about it, that is what Texas is known for, is having big bats and being able to score runs at will. Even being able to pull themselves out of situations where they're down big. They've been able to come back and rally and win games. And when you run into a situation where you're kind of in a slump, it could be, it can hurt some confidence. Yeah. And then on top of not having the best of pitching, you can run into a situation where you're like, man, But I would rather this happen now than happen in the College World Series, right? We've seen this before. We've seen this happen before. Texas will come in blades, like they will come in and just be ready to run everybody off the field, right? And then get into the tournament and then look like a team that just no identity, no real direction, and then just give it up, So I would rather them go through this now and be prepared for the tournament, the big tournament, versus, if they were to lose the SEC, would I be mad? No. If that means that they're going to be prepared for the College World Series.
Here's what I'll say about that.
Right.
I would be upset if they didn't win the SEC this year.
Okay.
You've ridden the SEC essentially the entire season.
Right. Yeah.
Let's just say they lose it on Friday or Saturday.
Right.
That would be disappointing in my opinion. Like,
okay,
you lose it. Like, if you basically choked away a 4-game lead,
right,
with 2 series left. Like that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Right.
In a conference that you're first and nobody likes you. By the way, we don't care about any other. I'll just tell you right now, don't care.
Right.
It's almost like the football season where you win the regular season, you get so close. You basically win the regular season, right?
Outright. Yeah.
You're basically a quarter away from winning the title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you kind of fumbled it, right? That was disappointing. Like, I would feel that level of disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important that they finish this out. And also, 2 of the last series, let's just say they lose the series, you lose 2 of the last 3 series to your hated rivals.
Yeah, that wouldn't look good. That wouldn't look good at all.
That would give the conference all the ammo they need to hate.
So Texas come in, claim to be big dogs because they didn't win the SEC.
They
But
go on the road and they chose. Like
the SEC is one of the hardest conferences out, in regards to baseball is concerned. I mean, almost all sports, if you think about it, basketball, baseball, all of it.
softball, it's tough, man. It's
Yeah.
tough out there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. And then, and then the NCAA tournament will occur not next week, but the week after is when the NCAA baseball tournament occurs. Texas will host one. I think they're probably a top 4 seed, right? Unless
Yeah, I
they
think so too.
hold the bag at this point. They'll definitely be top 6, but Texas has done enough to be a top 4 seed.
Yeah, I agree with
I
you.
100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, Tim, let's get to the fun stuff.
Heck yeah.
We normally don't get excited about recruiting in May, but we have been privileged
Yeah.
to be excited about recruiting in May.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 very, very important recruits. One close to home, Willis, Texas. But let's talk about the one from last week, since we were both out and didn't get a chance to. Hayward Howard, 4-star athlete out of the state of Louisiana, the number 4 overall prospect in the state. 2-way player, right? And actually is mentioned like taking his game after Travis Hunter.
Right.
What do you know about Hayward Howard? What do you like? What don't you like? And how do you expect him to be an impact to this Texas?
Well, what I like is that I like that Sark is starting to go and get big corners. Hayden Howard is 6'2" and he's 175 pounds. And he moves like a receiver. That is one of the things that I like what Sark is doing. We already have some pretty big defensive backs on campus already. So to add another guy that is just as big, he might be the tallest corner that we have coming in at 6'2". Unless
you measure it in at 6'3".
Really? Okay, I thought he was
6'3". Now 6'2" is big.
Right. 6'3" is video game crazy. That's Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman 6'3", right? Shut down.
Yeah,
right?
Like that's huge.
That's huge, right? And to be 6'2" and be able to play corner and be able to match up with a lot of these shifty guys.
Yep.
Big. That's big. That also tells me what they might be transitioning to. And if they're in this position where they're transitioning to a man-to-man situation where we're just going to leave you on the island, we expect you to shut down and do your thing, and we're going to let these pass rushers do their thing. If these pass rushers are able to get off the ball and they're able to get to the quarterback, and they're and the quarterbacks are putting ducks in the air, that's a win-win situation for Texas. That's a win-win situation for these cornerbacks. These cornerbacks can get in here and eat. These cornerbacks can get in here and really showcase their talents, because that's what gets you to the NFL. Being able to showcase your talent. We saw it last year with Jade and Taft and Muhammad. Like we got to see a lot of them. We got to see them make plays on the ball because they have such a good defensive line that you didn't have to worry about what's going on behind you. And that just all comes down to coaching and and developing talent and things of that nature. So this is a really, really big add. Of course, what we also need to give kudos to is that Sark pulled him from Florida State, Miami, LSU. Those were the main corporates for pulling up and wanting to offer this kid. Normally a kid like this stays in Louisiana. He goes to LSU or he goes to Miami, So for Texas to go into Louisiana and pull a kid from Louisiana that, according to rankings, he's the 10th best defensive back in the nation.
Yeah, I think he's
in the state. He's the 10th best defensive back in the state.
Yeah,
that's major.
Yeah,
and he also wants to play both ways. Let's see what Sark does. 6'2", he can do some stuff.
Big guy, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is going to be a guy that you can develop. I don't know if he starts year 1 or year 2.
I don't think
he's
so
not like
too.
a
But I
stud.
can see him coming in some packages though too.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe he's not going to play all season, but maybe he does get in those games in those fourth quarters, and maybe he does make those plays. I think about the other kid from Louisiana who came in and instantly, every time he stepped on the field, he made a play. Whether it's an interception, whether it's jarring a ball loose, whether it's coming in hot on a delayed blitz, things like that. I don't know why I'm slipping on my mind slipping. I'm trying to. I got to get into the habit now of not mentioning, Jade and Muhammad and things like that.
I got you. While you continue to talk, I know you're talking. It slipped my mind, so I will go find who you're talking about.
Right now we're
made a lot of players, but you said from Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
Who and DB?
Yeah.
Wardell Mack.
Wardell Mack. There we go. Wardell Mack was awesome. When he had the opportunity to play, Wardell Mack made plays. Interceptions, stripping the ball, making plays on he did it all when he had the opportunity to do it. And so it's been great to have that, to have a player like Wardell Mack. If Wardell Mack, I definitely think Wardell Mack will be definitely will be able to contribute more this year. But if you get somebody to come in like a Hayden Howard to where he can come in and take over and do that same thing that Wardell Mack does, again, you're getting the experience that you need in big time games, and then you're able to get comfortable within the system. That's a win-win for us for sure.
100%. I think this is one of those things, like you said, situate. Texas is so deep in the secondary right now. It's insane to think
honestly, right now, Harish, I think this is from a bird's eye view, this might be the strongest part of the defense, and we haven't said that in a long time. Where the secondary is the strongest point, we haven't seen that in a long time.
And now you've got some veteran guys. Here's the thing: this secondary is now all Sark. This is an all Sark, all PK secondary, right? You got Jalen Gilbo, Senior, Derek Williams Jr., right? Jelani McDonald Jr., Malik Muhammad Jr., Kobe Black Sophomore, Jonah Williams, all and then you got the freshmen. Zella 6. Cade Phillips is supposed to be a stud.
Right?
He's a freshman. And he'll get in situationally. And you look at the secondary, the safeties, right? We obviously talked about Derek Williams. Forgot about Xavier Filson, Michael Taft.
Right.
Jordan Johnson-Rubel, who I think is going to be he's going to be a huge piece as a safety this year. Wardell Mack, we just talked about him. Santana Wilson.
Yeah.
We're not done. And we got some other freshmen. Grayson Littleton is supposed to be a guy that can help me. So there's so many options.
One thing here, I want to give a shout out to B Killer. He gifted us a badge on TikTok. So shout out to him. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate that.
No.
Yeah.
Who's this?
B Killer.
B Killer, what's up, man? Thank you for that. We appreciate it. I don't know. I still got to figure out the chat thing for TikTok. I can't see TikTok chats.
Right.
You have to actually be on the phone, which is kind of strange, but
yeah, I'm currently watching it. He gifted us a badge. We have Round Rock, Texas jumping in there. Appreciate you jumping in there, man. Welcome.
Nice, man. Welcome, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it. I will get with the TikTok platform and figure that out here on my own. So I appreciate it. But like I was saying, the secondary is so deep. And so when you bring in a guy like this, especially at this size, he'll play situationally in those games that are your Eastern directional player, your teams that you play, right? Your ULMs. They'll play in those games and they'll start to get their feet wet. You don't need to rely on guys we don't need to rely on a guy like a freshman to go into Ohio State this year. Right?
Round Rock, Texas. Appreciate the badge, man.
We don't need to worry about a guy like Jermaine Bishop to come in and say, "Hey, man, we need you to play in Columbus and on our stadium. Like we don't need that. We're at such a great point. Real quick, Texas just took the lead 4-3 over Oklahoma.
Ooh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Men on first and third, one out. So good news there. That means the bats maybe have
Bats are waking up, right? The bats are waking up like we talked about.
so. But yeah, I think this is a guy he probably is going to sit for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
A year or two, right? And we know.
I think what we're starting to see is that, especially with Sark and how he's been able to again develop these guys and really get these guys the experience that they need. Usually that 1 year, we'll see them. We may not see them in abundance, but we'll see these guys come in. We'll garbage time. We'll see these guys come in on situational things here. Being able to get those guys in there and really get them developed and getting them some game time. I really like how Sark is utilizing the red shirt, because he also did this with Arch, right? We knew that there was a situation where there could be a time where Arch needed to step in because Quinn had not really been healthy for the majority of his career, right? We knew that there was a situation where these things could happen, and it did. And he was able to utilize Arch. He was able to keep Arch healthy and get him the game experience that he needed in a time where, Quinn wasn't available to play.
Yeah, I think the other thing to keep in mind, and this is something I heard earlier, we're getting recruits earlier now and committing earlier now because the rosters can go up to 105 now, right? So with the new NIL, with the new like title stuff, and we'll have Matt Brown and help break that down sometime at some point, but the rosters are getting bigger, and so now you have more space to add guys like this
right
in the period. And look, this is just May, right? So anything can, and these guys don't commit until at least November.
Right.
So anything can happen in the next 6 months, but we're happy to get him. Really, really big guy out of the state of Louisiana. So really, really excited.
Quick,
go ahead.
Wanted to shout out again our Texas again and congratulate him. His kid got into the Red McComb School of Business, so he's looking to go to more games. Shout out to you, dude, because the Red McComb School of Business, I know some of the smartest people on the planet did not get into the Red McComb School of Business, and they had phenomenal grades. So shout out to your son or daughter, and I'm glad they were able to get in, because that is not easy getting into the Red McComb School of Business. That's one of the hardest programs to get into. In the country, not just in the state of Texas, but in the country itself, though.
Yeah, so. My cousin got into McComb School of Business, and he graduated 3-4 years ago at this point.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I can definitely understand how hard it is. So congratulations, really excited. Welcome your kids to the 40 future Longhorns.
Yes, sir.
Lifetime Longhorns. So
yes, sir.
All right, Tim, real quick, let's finish out here. Jermaine Bishop Jr., son of Jermaine Bishop, right? Yeah. Former player at the University of Houston. Also that are more related to his uncle is Michael Bishop, who we all know as the Kansas State quarterback back in the day. Freak athlete family, so huge family. And the guy kind of this Jermaine Bishop, the way he's been described to me, is a freak athlete. He is that, and there's not a lot of junior tape on him yet from what we're seeing, but there's some sophomore tape in there. Don't call this a direct comparison, but there have been moments, right? There have been moments where he has looked like former Longhorn legend Xavier Worthy. Look, moments. Do not
listen. Listen. Don't get me hyped like that. Don't get me hyped,
man. I'm just telling you what I've read, right? And knowing how freakishly athletic that family is, it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
we'll obviously see some junior tape and check out some senior tape, as the season goes along. But I think what that tells you is this guy is one thing, fast.
Right.
And Sark loves his speed, although his identity has changed a little bit. And he's talked about this.
Right.
The identity has changed a little bit in the fact that he's looking for guys that are a little bit bigger because of the SEC.
Right.
He's still going to look for those speed guys because he runs packages where speed is important to him. Right. Yeah. So,
piggyback off what you were saying. Now, Jermaine Bishop comes in at 5'11", 155 pounds, very fast. Obviously, very fast. I don't know if he's Xavier Worthy fast because I haven't seen the tape that you're referring to, but I do know that he is super fast. That is a hell of a compliment to compare him to. That is, again, he does come from a freakishly athletic family. That is just what it is. And again, Sark grabbing another defensive back to, again, add depth, to add more experience in getting these young guys in and possibly getting them to be able to sit behind some of the more experienced guys, learn the ways of how to be a defensive back, learn the defense, and get the experience that they need in order to succeed in the future. So I'm excited about this. To see Sark going out and actively recruiting defensive players and getting these high caliber defensive players is very impressive. Normally it's always a wonder for us to like, man, who we gonna get on defense? Who we gonna get on the offensive players? And Harish, you tell me if I'm wrong. The offensive players that we normally get, it's almost like we're spoiled on the offensive side.
Yeah.
To start to get these major defensive backs, these major defensive linemen, these major linebackers and safeties, to have these big time commits come in on the defensive side is very telling. Sark is not playing when he says that he wants to develop a well-rounded team. And that's one of the things that he's always talked about, getting the guys in, getting the guys that he wants to get in, still getting those fast and twitchy guys. He's always mentioning, getting speed. And to see him actively go for it is very good. Also, RR Texas asked, do we have any shirts promoting our site? Unfortunately, we don't have any right now. We will in the future, but right now we don't. We've been trying to focus more on getting and providing a better experience for our viewers and our community here on Longhorn Fan Battle. Once we do have some information in regards to merch, hats, shirts, anything of that nature, we'll definitely let you guys know. But we appreciate you coming by. Again, we appreciate you sitting in with us on a Thursday night while the NBA playoffs are going. So, yeah, once we get that, we'll definitely let you guys know for sure.
Also, shout out to you guys for 3,000 likes. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Absolutely. We will work on merch throughout the course of the rest of this year. We want to build a community out here. We're all about community here, so that's definitely what we're going to do first. We just want to have guys to hang out with, people to talk to about Texas.
Yeah.
That's what we love. That's what we grew up on, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about Texas Longhorns in every facet and asset that we can. Obviously, there's a focus on football here, but we talk about everything here. Football to baseball to basketball. Actually, we haven't done a lot of soccer, which is interesting because I love soccer.
Right.
So we'll jump into some of that.
It's hard to watch the soccer games because they're so sporadic in times, and when they come on, it's like, and then I get a notification like, oh yeah, Texas just beat such and such at this point in time. Like, I didn't even know that they were. It's like I almost need to set my notifications up just for soccer alone because I know when baseball plays. Like I know when the baseball games come on. I get baseball notifications all day, all night. Like I know when they come on. So maybe I need to do that for soccer as well.
But yeah, definitely good call out there, our Texas. We will I'll go back and talk to the guys at Fan Battle Sports. It's something we've been working on. Fan Battle Sports, just to give you an idea, is we started the brand probably
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
Two buddies, and we started with the AFC South. This is Tim and I's only second season running Texas Longhorn Fan Battle. So.
Right.
We definitely will start to bring some more stuff out, especially as we start to air more out on TikTok. We really appreciate it. So definitely keep in tune. We will post on our TikTok as we get more and more stuff there. So, but we really appreciate it, and we're excited that you definitely want to promote us. So we really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Back real quick to just one last thought on Jermaine Bishop.
Right.
He's mentioned he wants to be a two-way player
Yes.
with focus on defense, and he's mentioned recently Travis Hunter as being the guy that he's seen this at. I don't know what that means. Like that's awesome to hear. We'll see how things progress, especially with two-way guys.
Right.
And Travis Hunter is a freak, right? that dude's insane.
Travis Hunter is an anomaly, right?
Yeah, he's what we call alien, right?
Yeah.
But I think as we look at a team that's as deep as Texas is,
Yeah, you're right.
The opportunities to do that just because there's so much guys that are focused in on one side of the ball.
Right.
The receiver position is stacked right now.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean they can't create packages for them or use them on special teams or anything like that.
Yep.
But that's something to look at. That's something to look at over time to see if that changes, right? I will say that I'm excited about this specifically. I'm really interested to see how he plays in his senior year.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what he does as he transitions over to the University of Texas. But that's really all the initial thoughts that I have. I think the one thing that stuck out is football family, super freakishly athletic.
Yep.
From the state of Texas. I think he's one of the top athletes in the state.
Yep.
A guy that wants to play both ways and technically all three ways because I think this is a guy that will be used on special.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. He would definitely. He's gonna be returning kicks.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So, all righty, Tim. Well, that's all we got for this week. Real quick score update before we get out of here. Texas has still the lead. Batting at the plate. Nope, they brought on the Volantis to close it out. I feel like we haven't seen Dylan Volantis in a long time.
Right.
But he's in bottom of the eighth. He's 1 out. And, hopefully Texas can close out tonight, close out tomorrow, close the series, try to get a sweep this week.
Yep.
Win the SEC regular season title. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, man. We're getting closer and closer to the summertime. Officially, June is the official date of summer. It's already been summer here. So as we get closer to summer, there are things that are coming out. One of the things that is coming out, and it's starting to pick up a lot more again as we get more information or more important information. We will let you guys know about EA Sports College Football, as we are both huge fans of the franchise, and I would say a lot of history have been built off of that. And honestly, I would say, without EA Sports College Football, I don't think this podcast happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. And Dynasty's been 15 years deep. And now we've been able to get spoiled and get the game back. I've been completely immersed in Ultimate Team now. It's been awesome. I like what they're doing with Ultimate Team and being able to play the game and kind of grind it out and still not have to spend money and still be able to get top players it's been fun for me. So that's why I've been completely immersed in the game. So as we get closer, guys, to the launch of the game, we're around 53 days away. I wouldn't be surprised within the next couple of weeks here to look out for a trailer. I'm not saying anything off the top of my head. It's just be on the lookout for a trailer within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, once you get to the end of May and start of June, like Summer Games Fest is in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And usually, like the 3 to 4 weeks leading up to release is when EA launches all their information. This is what
Yeah.
they do for every game. The marketing
Yeah.
strategy does not change.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, college football got pushed up, which means what?
The season starts sooner. Yeah.
Madden gets pushed up.
Right.
EAFC is getting pushed up back into August again, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I think publishers are going back to their normal
Right.
release cycles pre-COVID,
Right.
which
Right.
is exciting, right?
Which is very exciting. Yeah.
Games are happening sooner for us. Like I can now reassociate my birthday with the release of this game, which
Yeah.
is what I did as a kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The game always came out the week of my birthday, whether it be
Right.
on my birthday, the day before, or the day after.
Right.
Always.
I do
like
happen to have a question for you prior to us exiting here.
Yeah.
There was news, the NFL schedule did come out yesterday.
Yeah.
Tons of things happened with that, even with the Colts and Tyreek Hill. I thought was hilarious, but it was a little bit insensitive in regards to like poking fun. Like there's other ways that you can make fun of somebody. That's not a way to go about it, but that's not on the front office. That's on the social media team. That's not on them. But what are your thoughts before we clear out here? What are your thoughts on the college football games and the New Year's Day games clashing with the NFL games on the same day?
All football, all day.
So you don't look at that as a negative, because currently what it is there is 2 NFL games and there is 3 college football games all on the same day.
Awesome.
All on the same day. And these games start at like one of the games that I saw, if I'm not mistaken, the NFL game starts at like 11 a.m. So we're talking football all day. Not like and I mean like these are not like even though these are regular season NFL games, these are college playoff football games. And when you have those, you do have a butting of heads. Now, do I know what will I be doing? I will be watching all of it like you. I will be watching all of it as it happens live. Yep. But for a lot of people, that could create a situation like, what if you're an Eagles fan and the Eagles are playing to potentially win the NFC East or to vie for a playoff spot, and then you got your favorite football team in a college football playoff? What do you do?
Right.
Yeah, it is a tough situation. So, we knew that it was coming to this. We've been talking about it for a while now, that there is going to be a point where these leagues are going to intertwine with each other, because you can't separate the time slots are too. The time slots are too important, right, for TV deals. There's going to be some overlapping. And the way that this is going to work out is it's going to be the end of the regular season, and these games might be duds, right? These teams might suck, but it's still going to interfere. It's still going to run into a college football playoff game, and that's unfortunate. But as a football fan all around, I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. I'm excited. Look, football, man, and my wife watches football too. So our household, we'll be locked in. We're good over here. We are okay. I'm hey, sorry, I can't do anything on this Friday. I got 8 games to watch.
Right.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
So I'm down. Yeah, Tim, let's go ahead and get out of here.
Yes,
I gotta get to the dinner table.
Yes, sir.
Where can people find you?
You can find me at Tim Wayne on Twitter, and you can find me at the Longhorn Fan Battle podcast or LHFN, Jesus Christ, LHFN. How do we say our Twitter handle again?
LHFBN.
LHFBN. It's hard to. It's a lot of acronyms going around, and then of course you can find me also on Fan Battle podcast on TikTok. We appreciate everybody coming in. Appreciate people giving us the badges. RR Texas, thank you for stopping by. be killer. Thank you for the badge there. It's really our first real interacting with people on TikTok. So I appreciate you guys coming by, dropping off the likes, and so forth. So yeah, you can find us there. Like I said, as we get closer to the launch of college football, as that information comes out, I will definitely be uploading that information on TikTok. Harish will be super active on Twitter as he always is, especially when watching baseball games and softball games as well. Yeah, that's where you can find me. Where can they find you at?
Find me at the Uncle Gandhi, GHANDI. And you can find me all over the Fan Battle Network throughout the week. Tuesdays with the Colts,
Yes, sir.
Thursdays with my guy Tim Wayne. And eventually, one day in life, we're working on it. The return of the AFC South Fan Battle podcast. It's been a long time since we've all been together. With training camp and the season coming up, we will be back at some point.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna.
Season 6, where it all started. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. My name is Harish. This is my guy, Tim Wayne.
Yes, sir.
Peace.